No.
And that being that whatever I have read about the Lingayats, the Veerashaiva movement, which was heralded and held by Basavanna, it was against the traditional caste system in Hinduism. All these bhakti poets, if you look at across India, and whether you look at Basavanna or Akka Mahadevi, they spoke against caste ridden upper caste kind of Brahmanism. So I don't understand really, and I'm very much for that, and I just don't understand why is it today the Panchamali, the Lingayats are asking for reservation. Is it because way back someone called Nirani had started all this?
Yeah. See, Sudha, your question is not idiotic, but highly relevant and pointed also. You have just put it in a very modest way. Now, I would say that the Panchamasalis demand is there for last 3 to 4 years, and vigorously and aggressively they are pursuing it. But in the context of BJP's whatever kind of policy of giving them to reducing them to 3B, it has not helped them because it has taken Muslims quota and then it's a partition for this particular community, which will not make them happy also because they are very particular about 2A kind of reservation slot. So I think there are a lot of political, agendas behind this agitation, apart from the genuine concern of the people. But when you mentioned about Basavanna never worried or bothered or defended the sub-caste system in any caste, including the new dharma, which he formulated in the context of Basava Dharma. I mean, those days he never bothered about creating a separate group, but he only wanted to amalgamate and invite people who are discriminated, who felt they are alienated, they are not recognized, and they should all work together. Kayakave Kailasa, work is worship. So, over a period of time, that work is worship reduced some of the subgroups within the Lingayat community or Virashaiva community in terms of different castes itself. So that particular thing is something which goes against the philosophy of Basava. Basava, he only thought of unifying people with the reform and also trying to give them a social status, which even including women, they were not getting earlier. So I think, there is a kind of gap, a very big gap between Basaveshwara's philosophy and the demand of Panchamasalis. Today politically, anybody can demand anything and all that. But when Chief Minister Siddaramaiah was, given this kind of suggestion, no, he invited them for talks and all that, but that did not happen. So Chief Minister himself could have gone there. After all, all these years, top leaders, chief ministers of BJP and Congress, they are hesitating to meet them. If they go with all protection that is there, I don't think the mob was violent. All that they were all emotionally charged. So Siddaramaiah could have said, what BJP government has done, I am going to do it, and I will ask the legal opinion and also go by the constitutional norms and all that.
Ramakrishna Upadhyay, I want to ask you that Yadurappa, it cost Yadurappa his job, and basically because of the growing dissent, amongst the Lingayats, and then came Baswaraj Bommai, and see what Bommai did in 23. You know it. I want the viewers to know that what he did was he scrapped the 4% quota under category 2B for Muslims and distributed amongst the Vokkaligas and the Lingayats, which increased the Lingayats, the figure from 5 to 7, if I'm not wrong, or yeah, it was 5 to 7. But then the Muslim petitioners went to court and it was struck down because the court said it was very shaky and very flaky. Today, if you look back, Ramakrishna Upadhyay, do you think the BJP did a great disservice and have really confused it to such an extent that it has to be unraveled with utmost care, Ramakrishna Upadhyay?
Yes, Sudha, I think it's a very, very tricky situation for BJP as well as the Congress. But look at this the irony. These people who claim to be followers of
Yeah.
Basavarna's ideology, I mean, now demanding reservation. Basavarna was the one, who wanted abolition of all castes and communities. I mean, he was against, caste system. So, being their followers, and these people now want reservation in his name. So that is the irony. That apart, I think the politics has now overtaken every caste and community, and there's no wonder that, especially in Karnataka, we have all these dominant communities demanding more and more reservation, and at whose cost? See, the percentage of reservation cannot increase. The Supreme Court has put a ceiling of 50%, and unless it is amended, or unless the Supreme Court itself agrees to increase reservation, it cannot be done without taking it from somebody else's pocket. So where will the whether it is the Congress or the BJP find the additional reservation which the Lingayats or the Panchamasalis in particular are demanding? So that is the crux of the problem. But now what I find is Siddaramaiah is playing his own politics. He knows that the Panchamasalis are unhappy with the BJP because the Panchamasalis were ignored during the Lok Sabha elections. Not many were given tickets, and even during the three by-elections. I mean, you remember in Shigong, they very much wanted a Panchamasali to be given a ticket, and in spite of that, the Basuraj Bommai's son Bharat was given the ticket, who is not a Panchamasali, he's a Southern community. So all this is building up, and Siddaramaiah knows that the Panchamasalis are angry with the BJP, and he wants to somehow, take a section of them into the Congress fold. So that is why he is trying to be conciliatory, and that's why he's allowed this protest to happen. I mean, normally the governments don't allow the protests. I mean, they'll
Yeah, but
ask them to.
Ramakrishna, yesterday they stopped them and they said, is it an
Yes.
emergency? Today also, there's been tear gas shelling. Look at those visuals on the screen. There has been a lot of they have been press ganged, as it were. And Mrityunjay
Yeah,
Swami has said, what is this? Don't we have a right? He's been protesting for years now. He's made it his pet kind of a project as of now. But it is not as if the authorities have been very, very clear, Ramakrishna.
No, see, the fact is the government, in fact, Home Minister Parmeshwara said, we will allow, the protest to a certain extent. He said they should not bring big, tractors. They should, come in smaller vehicles, but we will allow the protest a little bit away from the Suvarna Soudha in Belagavi. So that was the plan yesterday. But probably looking at the crowd, the size of the crowd, the police had no choice but to wield the lathis and the tear gas. So these are very very tricky situations. It's not easy to handle them.